Hey guys, Seamus here. Welcome to my crib. This is one of many, but let me take you over to the other place and let's get started on the day. Come on in. They just got here, Sophie and Gracie just got here yesterday, so it's kind of like their first real session. Yesterday, just kind of like hung out with her like in the room, getting her comfortable. But today we're just kind of starting to introduce some of that groundwork. Leash pressure stuff on. Good. And because she's so nervous, she's not really food motivated right now, but still offer it to her just in case she does want it. Okay? Good. Good job. Okay. Good. Good job. Okay. And then the goal with this, obviously, is to just teach her where we're trying to get her to go with the least amount of pressure required. So you can see, okay, barely even using this leash already, which is a really good sign. Good. And if she needed a little help, if she tried pulling away or something like that, I could just leash help her back on. Okay. So that looked good. So now we can just move to like our sits. See what that looks like. Good. Still offering that reward. Good. Okay. Good. I think the biggest thing with the leash pressure stuff is that a lot of times people think it's like you just immediately turn pressure off really high and then you turn it off when they get in the position. What I want to do is apply as little pressure as possible. Good. So that way she learns once she starts needing to go into that position, it only takes the slightest amount of pressure for her to know where to go. If it's something where I am increasing that pressure, it's because of that resistance to her. Now you can see just the tiniest little pressure, she's going right in, turning it right off, okay? It's not this like immediate, you jump to super high pressure and then wait for her to go into it. I want to use as little pressure as possible, just like we were with the beds, but it's up to her to get in that position. So just slowly increasing that pressure, just very, very little, increasing that a little bit at a time. Then when she does, boom, take that pressure off. Good job. Okay. And this is all just getting that groundwork down. Again, her first kind of day, so this is all brand new to her. Good. Okay. Good. And you can see I'm not really moving around a whole lot. You don't really need to. Really, it's especially with these sits, all you're trying to do is get her up so you can put her back in that sit. Good. Okay? Spending a lot of time walking around is only going to give more time in between the repetitions, where if I don't have to spend that much time, I can get a lot more repetitions in a much shorter time. Good. Okay? Which is what we're trying to work. Keeping her focused on the task. Good. Good job. Okay. Good. And what I'm looking for is just kind of like with the beds, really smooth transition with very little pressure. Okay? Good. Okay? And especially when teaching, I really like to get a lot of reps that look really good. A lot of people get Okay, comfortable, especially after working this for a really long time. If it's a dog that's really struggling to learn this stuff, they get like 1 or 2 good ones and they're like, cool, that's it, you can just stop it. You want to try to keep pushing them to get really good consistency and make sure that they do actually have an understanding of it and it's not just getting lucky or something that you were able to do it. Good. Okay. Come on, Soph. Let's do a couple more. This is another thing that we'll kind of see a lot of times when we're teaching is dogs, they'll kind of comply for a little bit and then they try to like push off and be like, they try to be the ones that are telling you to stop. And again, it's one of those things where if you allow them to make that choice, they're obviously going to start doing that more often, you know? But if they realize, well, you just got to do a couple more and then we can stop. That's what I'm looking for. Good. Okay, gives us kind of that control a little bit more. Again, just because it's her first time doing this, I think she's like, okay, I tried pleasing you for a second, but now I'm just tired of it. Okay, so I'm just trying to get that solid consistency right there. Good. Now you can start to see it's coming back a little bit. Okay. Hi, Bridget.
Very nice.
Yeah. She warms up quick.
Come here. Good job, Fiona. All right, now come over here and try to pet her while I'm holding her.
Okay.
Oh, see, she's like, that's nice.
Good job. Yeah. Her head looks so good.
Your little head looks so good.
So with Ray, she's about, I think she's just about a week into her board and train. So at this point, we've kind of ran through all the groundwork stuff. Bed? Good. And are now teaching, starting to lay in the actual criteria for the commands, introducing the commands and stuff. So starting with our beds right now, okay? And just making sure that this still looks good. Once I get a couple reps, bed, good. Then I'll start adding some duration into it. Again, still offering some food in case she wants it. She seems a little distracted right now, but that's all right. Okay. Tell she's got a good understanding of it because she's going on even before I say it. Bed. Still want to give that command though, just to let her know that that's exactly what I want her to do. Okay? Bed. Good. So just working some short leash duration right now. Really just not trying to put tension on the leash. Obviously, if I put tension, she's going to be motivated to come off because you can see she kind of already wants to. No? Bed. But this is a really good way to kind of look for timing. No? Bed. And it's something where if she really wants to run off, you still have her on that leash, so you can just hold on to her and then repeat that command back to the bed. Again, what I'm looking for is just be able to do a couple passes with her staying on that bed. When introducing this duration, when we're starting this duration, what we're looking for is that anticipation of or that impulse control of wanting to stay in the bed regardless of what I'm kind of doing around her. So when I'm doing this, why I keep kind of going back and forth is I'm looking for that resistance of her not wanting to kind of walk up to the edge like she kept doing and trying to see if she could come off, you know. I wanted her trying to kind of just stay where she is, like she is right there. Good. Give her a few reps, and then I can go ahead and release her. Okay? Good job. Ray, Bed. Good. So sort of that kind of impulse control. Just, she's still staying on. She's not doing anything wrong yet. You know, this is totally fine, but she's not calm, which is the reason why I want her kind of on this bed stay and working this duration. Good. Okay. Now this time we can drop the leash and we can see what that real duration looks like. Giving more distance. Bed. Giving it a little bit more control of that. Good job. Good. Okay, always like to pick up the leash before I release because it's that last little moment for that impulse control, like exactly what we're working on. Bed. A lot of times we pick up that leash and the dogs immediately want to just jump off because they know with picking up the lead comes getting off. So I want it to be something where just because I pick up the leash, she knows that that doesn't mean she's allowed off. She still has to wait for my release. Good. And when I work in duration like this, it's something where obviously if she were to step off, my timing of the correction is still the same. The second that paw hits the ground, telling her no, giving her that correction, and then I'm just going to pick up that lead if I need to, or just have myself walk back over to the bed and repeat that bed command for her again. When we start getting into this phase of adding more duration or longer distance duration, it's something that I'm really looking for her to kind of calm down a little bit. You can kind of see she's still kind of standing up a little bit. I want to see, again, just like that, her sit down or maybe her even lay down. She's obviously still panting. Her ears are still up, so she's still very much stimulated. The whole purpose of these bed stays and these down stays are so that we can kind of like calm the dog down a little bit around those really big stimulations or distractions. Good. Okay. Obviously, we're working in a very low distraction situation right now. It's just kind of me and her. There's not any other dogs, any other people coming through or anything. So working this longer duration is kind of the first phase. Obviously, once we start bringing in distractions, we can start kind of going back to maybe some shorter leash duration again, and then building up that consistency until we get to that longer leash or that off-leash duration. Come on, bed. Something we can also do in a very low distracted situation right now is just giving her that bed command. Because the bed command is really good, she has a really good understanding of it. As you saw before, she was kind of just going on before I even said the command. So I know she has a good understanding. It's just about that duration now. So low distractions, just me and her. I can do this kind of off-leash bed stays where I'm just kind of going, putting her on, and then just rewarding, and then releasing her right away. Good. Okay. Come on. Good job. I always recommend when you're first practicing this or learning this, teaching this, always have the lead on when you're doing it. You don't doesn't need to be on all day, but it's good to have it on just in case I do need to go grab the leash. It just helps with being a little bit more on top of things. Ray, bed. Good. Still not very interested. That's okay. You want that one? So the next phase for Ray will be exactly what I was just saying, getting her around more distractions, working on that duration, and starting to kind of proof things a little bit. Okay. Come on, Ray. Yes. All right. So, starting with these two, we're working on their walks today. We have another dog as well walking with us. What we're trying to work, we started them individually and now we're starting to bring them together. So just working on that same criteria as if they were alone, but taking it more as a unit. So our criteria of being within that bubble, within that circle, is just maintaining that kind of consistency. So if Thor is trying to push that circle a little bit more, I'm giving that correction and then bringing him back in. So you can see Loki's doing really good. He's at a really good heel position. Thor's the one that's kind of pushing these boundaries a little bit. So even though I'm only saying no and I'm only correcting him, you can see Loki's still kind of fixing himself too. And that's okay. You know, it's okay if even if he's still doing it right. No, come. He's still checking himself when hearing that no marker. He's just not getting that correction because it's not really intended for him. The boys we have here, they're litter mates. They're in the same house right now. They are just very big, strong boys. And so they came here to kind of get some more kind of obedience training to kind of help the owners control them a little bit better within the house and with outside of the house. So they've never really gotten in big fights with themselves, which is pretty unique, honestly, for litter mates. Usually there are a lot of more like issues with the dogs fighting, especially two males in the same litter. But they've actually been pretty good together. They get along fairly well. But they have had some incidences with getting a little nippy at other people. So that's been the biggest thing that we've been working on. But in terms of the training program, they have about less than a week left. And so we're more so in that fine-tuning phase right now where all the commands have been taught. They know what they're supposed to do and they know what they're not supposed to do. But it's more of just getting them around more of the distractions and kind of tweaking up where we need to with these commands so that the transition going home is as smooth and as positive as possible. So we went on a walk earlier today and now they're just kind of holding a downstay while we're talking. You can see, you know, they're both totally fine right next to each other. They're both comfortable. They're both probably ready to pass out soon here too. And this is just something where, you know, it's simply just working duration. Like we are doing a session technically right now by just having them hold this downstay while I'm talking. And this is something that's really important that I tell a lot of owners. You know, the point of the board and train is for me to teach your dogs what the commands are. And for your job is to just kind of make sure that it stays fresh and that you use it appropriately, you know. So I always tell people, you know, I don't really require owners to spend 2 hours or 3 hours a day practicing these commands with their dogs. I just tell them use it into your daily routine, you know. If you're having guests over, if you're just hanging out, go ahead and put them in a down, you know, make sure that they know what they're supposed to do and get them working around, you know, a very low distraction room. Get that really solid so that when you need them to do it in a distracted situation or in a stimulated situation, they're able to do it because they've done it 100 times already without the distractions there. And throughout the day, you know, I always use the examples of getting them to do a bedstay or a downstay, you know, within the house when you are cooking dinner, when you're eating dinner, doing the dishes, folding laundry, watching TV, whatever it may be that you would like, where it's going to take about 10 to 15 minutes to be occupied doing something else, you can have them working in the room in sight duration doing that same command. So you can see they're just even getting more comfortable. And this is kind of what we look for in terms of the whole purpose of the downstay, what we look for in terms of what we want to see out of that duration. You can see Loki's obviously really calm, laid out, ready to fall asleep, as well as Thor. He's kind of has his hip swings out, a little bit more of a stable position that we kind of look for with the dogs. Obviously the head's down and all that. So it's really about also reading the body language and knowing when it's appropriate to release your dogs as well. So we're just finishing up, like I said, with their last week or so of their board and train. By the time they go home, we'll be looking to teach their owners exactly everything that they need to do so that, when faced with these situations, they're able to kind of handle it as well.
You guys still give some love it. Yes.
Thor is a little bit of the bigger one of the brothers. So he's a little bit more of the ringleader, I think the owner said. So when we taught them, we obviously started teaching them separately, individually, teaching them the commands. And then once they started doing it this last week or so, we started bringing them together. All right, boys. Down. Good. Nice job. The good thing about working with these two as well is that usually, as long as one's paying attention, you could see the first time we did it, he went down first, and then Thor kind of realized it and went down, and then vice versa. Right there I asked him. He did it first, and then Loki kind of caught on and went down as well. So it's always about giving them the kind of the benefit of the doubt as well. I always give the dogs a few seconds to try and let those wheels turn in their head and try to figure out exactly what they're being asked to do, so that way we can avoid getting that correction. What's up?
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
They're not even getting up.
No. So we're taking Percy on a field trip. We like to do this when we're kind of fine-tuning things. Percy leaves tomorrow, so we were planning on going to Edgewater, but weather wasn't on our side, so we're actually going to go up to Home Depot and work on some walking, maybe some downs and stuff. So we like to do these big field trips and stuff to kind of work on finalizing the commands around distractions. So I really like Home Depot a lot because it's kind of closer to people. There's the carts and the forklifts and the machinery and all that stuff can be really good noise kind of distractions for the dogs, as well as the aisles. We can get people coming out of aisles and a little bit more of a surprise for certain dogs. So it's good to work on those kind of controls as well, especially in that heel command. So that's what we're going to really be working on with Percy today and just seeing how that goes. And just kind of, again, fine-tuning that heel command. Percy came to us. He's this Roddy right here, younger Rottweiler, and he just had some kind of behavior issues. Obviously, a very strong dog, and especially with the Rottweilers, they can be very stubborn sometimes. So working with him, it's been really about kind of working on the commands and the structure so that when he goes home to the owners, they have a little bit more of that control over kind of what he's doing when he does either try to be stubborn or try to do what he wants to do, So that's what we're going to be working on today. In the car as well, this is also something just on the way of working with these field trips. A lot of owners do have some trouble with dogs in their cars as well, with, obviously trying to get up to the front seat or in the passenger seat, jumping on the car doors like that. All those stuff, vocalizing in the car at other dogs or other people. So this is another good reason to just kind of do these field trips. You can kind of work on those situations as well. Going in and out of the car, some dogs like to kind of just rush right out. Sorry, Percy. So it's something that we'll be able to kind of work on as well. In Home Depot, Percy's a really good example of a dog that has a really high food drive, and we always say that helps so much in the terms of training, because where we are a balanced training facility, obviously we want to be enforcing positively as much as we possibly can. So with Percy having such a big food drive, it's something that we've been able to kind of curve some of these behaviors of him getting really excited and going to wanting to say hi to everyone, to people, to dogs, and all that stuff, by just keeping the focus on me with that positive reinforcement, with the treat or the kibble. So in the Home Depot trip today, we were able to see that, he sees the distractions, he sees the people kind of in the aisle, but chooses to kind of maintain focus on me instead. And because of that, once we walk past the distraction, he gets that reward. So it's continuously positively reinforcing that, yes, ignore that distraction, pay more attention to me, and you get something positive out of it. In the balance of that with the correction as well, it's something that as much as the positive is good and it's rewarding, the negative is also curving that behavior in the sense of letting him know exactly what he's doing wrong as well. So he has that choice of choosing either the right thing or the wrong thing, and either getting a reward or a consequence with the correction out of it. So as we were walking down the aisle, he goes off and tries to sniff that lady or whatever. He, for whatever reason, walks out of my bubble. He gets a correction right when he walks out of that bubble or that area, and then immediately fixes himself. And then you can see after that, that's when we walk past the guy. This time chooses the right thing instead of the wrong thing and gets the reward out of it. So during the board and train, we obviously like to get the dogs out of the crate as much as possible, in between or after their sessions for the day. So this is Bucky's little time to be in a social with Hercules, giving him some time out, but also obviously the importance of socials are to work on their socialization skills. So getting him out, one is just getting him some energy out that he needs to, but also letting him kind of be a dog, letting him learn how to appropriately behave around other dogs, maybe that he's never met before, or dogs that he does know that he's like with owners' friends and dogs and stuff like that. So this is a good time to interact. We like to try to get the dogs out as much as possible, but we do have obviously restrictions on certain dogs, especially if they first come in or if they're here for certain reasons, one being reactivity towards dogs and stuff. Obviously, it's a slower process to get them more comfortable with the dogs. The end goal is to always be able to get the dogs to this level where they are able to kind of socialize with a bunch of different dogs. Isn't that right, Bucky? And Bucky did kind of come to us with a lot of anxiety, a lot of vocalizing. So giving him a chance to get out and kind of work some of that out is obviously always very, very beneficial. Shit. Oops, sorry, corn dog. All right, I'm sorry about that. I was having a panic attack. I'm like, shit, I don't think I ever sent that. So I'm really sorry about that. Okay. All right. Well, I will see you shortly then. All right. Bye. It's usually me.
Is going to be, I never catch her. I never catch her going to the bathroom. She always sneaks by, and so I don't know how to.
Does she typically go to the bathroom in the same spot, or is it kind of random? Okay. So
yeah, she definitely thinks that it's okay there.
Yeah.
And
okay.
it is my fault.
And where is that in the house?
It's near the dining room table.
Okay.
And before it was because we didn't crate her at night.
Okay.
We now crate her at night.
Perfect. Cool. So she's doing it during the day then, I see.
So she hasn't done it since we started crating her. So there's 2 nights that we didn't crate her, and she did it both nights.
If the crating alone solves the issue, perfect.
Yeah.
Keep crating, do that stuff. If it's something where you need a crate, give her crate time during the day as well. If she's ever
Okay.
getting like too amped up in something, and because obviously she just has a lot of energy, right? And that's the real like reason why she's here and stuff. So it's something that I would recommend crate time while you guys are at home as well,
Okay.
not just at night and not just when you guys leave.
Okay.
This way it gives her a reason, especially if you can't spend time to focus on her doing the bedstay because you guys are working or doing something else, and it's just like, I can't focus on her while I'm doing this thing, crate her.
Okay.
You know, it's something she's gonna be totally fine, and it's only gonna give you more time to work through that stuff, because the last thing you're gonna wanna do is work on it at night when you're trying to fall asleep and you're half asleep and you're doing this stuff, right? If you're doing it during the day, you're only giving her more times to experience those situations. One, help her kind of relax in there, and two, it's something give you more time to kind of work through those issues, correcting for them, you know? So definitely recommend that. If it's something that you do notice the bathroom breaks and stuff, especially if she is having more of an upset stomach right now or something, I would definitely recommend, you know, if possible, just more bathroom breaks.
Okay.
You know, even if it's just going out to the front yard and giving her 5-10 minutes to just try, you know, and just seeing sometimes, especially with the puppies, you know, they can get a little pushy as they start getting into that teenage phase and they start kind of picking up these old habits or new habits and stuff. So it's something that if that's the case, just be like, okay, we're just gonna go out more and this is gonna be your chance to go. And because it is hard to catch that, you know, and that's the same thing with like certain behavior issues.
And there's no like corrective thing that I can do, like if I see that she's done it. Right?
Not
The
if you
deed's
don't
already been
catch
done.
her.
Yeah.
Not if you don't catch
Okay,
her.
that's what I
Because it's hard to tie it in. You know, the whole point of the corrections is that no marker as she's doing it to let her know what that thing is wrong. If she's hiding it from you, she probably already knows she's not supposed to be doing it, right? She probably like knows that it's
She's
something you
definitely
don't
not doing
like.
it in front of me.
Yes. So it's something that she, you know, and that's typically a sign of like them trying to be sneaky because they know they're not supposed to do it,
Yeah,
right?
okay.
Same with the counter surfing and stuff where like they won't do it in front of you, but you leave the room for a second, they're gonna go get it. You know what I mean? Because they know it's hard to push the blame on them at that point, you know? So it's something that I recommend just trying to beat around it by just trying to get her out more if that's needed, you know? So extra crate time, extra runs if you need to. If she's doing great, if the crate's solving the issue, then just keep doing that, you know?
Okay.
Because that's one thing that I do, that's why I always recommend crating, because it's something that it does solve the issues a lot of times.
Yeah.
Because they can go poop in the corner and then run away and they don't have to step in it.
Yeah.
If they poop in the crate or pee in the crate, they're in it now for the whole night. And that's the last thing she's gonna wanna do, you know? So, that's always something I would recommend.
Side of island, if I say bed, she thinks it's down and like comes right over
Yeah.
here. So I have to take her on the leash and then say bed. I do tell her no, like once she doesn't do it right, and then correct her,
Yep.
and then take her to the bed.
Yep.
Am I
Perfect.
doing that right?
Yep, that's
Okay.
it. Yep. Because you're giving her the option. Now, because it's like the first week or so, that's why like in the send home, I showed you like walking her up to the bed.
Yeah.
Because I don't want, I mean, it's right to give her a correction if she doesn't do it right? But it's something I don't want to necessarily be like confusing her either. Because in that situation, what it seems like is you haven't made that connection quite
She doesn't
yet
know
to
that
like where the
that's bed
bed,
yet.
right? Yeah,
Okay.
or like where the bed is or something. But she hears a command and she's like, I don't know what she said, but I'm gonna do something, and so she downs, right? So that shows me she's not blowing you off. She's trying to do something, but it's just not the right thing. So you are right in giving that correction, but I think until you start seeing like you can start doing that distance, make sure that if you are giving the command, you're making it clear what the command is, you know?
And then the down outside, it was okay until someone came up to us and was like, "Oh, you're such a good dog." And I was like, "I did not say you could pet my dog."
Yep.
And then she got up and got excited, and then
Yep.
I had to correct her a lot.
Mm-hmm. And that's
In those
unfortunately.
situations, should I correct
Yes.
her? Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Because-
I felt really bad
Right.
at that point.
Well, and
it
that's.
was the other lady's fault.
Exactly. And but that's the whole point of working through the distractions, right? That's why we've taught her, so that she can learn to have that self-control in that situation, right? Yes, it was that lady's fault. You still broke it, and that's why we're working it.
Yeah.
Sometimes it also just makes that person check themselves a little bit and be like, you did that. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Oblivious, but.
yeah. So it's something, it's something that I do want to give that correction. I don't want to try to
Okay.
fix her again, but in those situations, I try to deal with the issue first in the sense of like giving her a correction, and then, you know, at that point, she knows what she did wrong. I already gave her the correction. Then I can address the person and say, hey, sorry, we're working on something right now. You know, I appreciate, you know, you saying that she's cute, but I need to work on something, right? And then go back to her, dilly down, right? So it's something that you, because again, the importance is marking what she's doing wrong and giving that correction first. You have plenty of time to deal with why she made that distraction or broke that command, and then going back to it and fixing it after, right? You have plenty of time to do so. And sometimes maybe she'll get that correction, she goes right back down, right? And then you can still talk to it. If she's still down, just repeating that command again, or if she pops up again, just telling her down again. Today I want to work, if the duration is more what we need to work on, then that's what we're gonna do. I want
She's
to.
kind of slow with the release. Like,
Yeah.
Almost like she doesn't know that it's a release.
That's her
like-
kind of just being, yeah, her being safe.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
And that, again, that's not a bad thing because the release just means you don't have to stand there, right? I'm never going to give her a correction if she doesn't come off of that
Right,
command
right.
after I say, okay. If she wants to stay there, that's totally fine, right? At that point, if it's something that you want her to actually come to you, if she's on a bedstay and you tell her okay and she doesn't come off, but you're like, hey, I kind of want you to come over here, that's when you can just do a recall,
Okay.
right? And then she has to come to you,
Okay.
right? Does that
Yeah.
make sense? But if it's something where like she's hanging on the bedstay or something and you say okay and she kind of does like that, yeah, that like half kind of thing, that's her just being like, I don't know for sure. Again, confusion. It's like, not 100% sure if what you said is what you said, so I'm just going to stay here and play it safe, right?
Yeah.
And that's where you can, yes, you can either give her that recall or you can kind of like call her name and like coax her off, you know, if you like don't really
Okay,
care if she
that's
comes
what
to
I
you.
meant,
Yeah,
yeah. All right.
that's totally fine. Yep. Perfect. Yep, nice. And we're just going to give her a second, work some duration here. And now look, this is already something where she's like, okay, I've gotten 3 corrections now. I feel it a little bit more. She's already more focused than she was when she first came, right? And that just shows having that appropriate level means so much in this situation where, because we're at an appropriate level, it will take a lot less corrections to get my point across, right? Now again, she's stimulated, whatever, that's totally fine. This is still okay, right? What I'm looking for is the second that paw comes off, no, and then correct. I'll give her a second, I'll see what she does with that. If she is pawing at the fence or if she jumps up, I would correct her for that. Tell her no. And then bed?
Bed.
Perfect. Now again, right there.
Yeah.
Clear understanding of the
She
command.
understood that.
She knew what she did wrong. She immediately heard no. It's like, oh
Do I have
shit,
to
gotta
command
get back
again?
up. Yep,
Because
I
she
have
does
to
that
repeat.
a lot. Okay.
Yep. I want to repeat it just because I don't want to leave her hanging, right? I
Okay.
want to let her know that you did the right thing, right? You blew it off, you blew the command off, so you got that correction. And even though, yes, you did hop right back on, I want you to know that that is what I wanted you to do, right? I don't want to leave her hanging. I don't want to be like, no, you did something wrong, and then not explain why, you know, or what you did wrong, right? No, you got off the bed, get back on the bed, right? Even if she fixes herself first before you repeat it, make sure you still repeat it. Yeah. Again, just eliminates confusion. All this stuff, really, like this first week is about just, was really about just like getting you more comfortable and just trying to figure stuff out. And this is why I like it, is because it's something where you can kind of figure out where you feel confident in giving the commands and where you're like, is this right or is this what I need to do, right? And then we can come back and just fine tune it, right? So you have a better idea of what to do.
Here's the thing. It's hard going out. I'm from Texas.
Yeah.
It's cold here.
Okay. Yeah.
So going outside is really painful for me, especially with the 4 flights of stairs I got to take.
Yes.
So we have a roof, and I have like grass. Like I would ideally like her to do the stuff
Then
on
take
the
her every
grass.
15 minutes, go up there.
Okay.
Yep. If that's where you want that spot to be.
But that's like a good way to train. Like this is where you go to the bathroom.
Yep.
Almost
That-
like
that's
a
ex-
kitty litter.
Yes. That's exactly
Okay.
how.
I didn't know
That's
if
exactly
that's the
how we
same way
potty
they
train
train with-
puppies. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. It's very tedious, and that's one of like the hardest things a lot of people like overlook when they get a puppy, is the fact where it's just something where you have to go. It's you know, you have to wake up every half an hour or hour sometimes, even throughout the night, to go let the dog go pee, Because if you can go out every hour, even if they pee or even if they don't, you're still giving them that chance. And then the one time they do, good job, here you go, good
With
job,
treats
with the
and stuff,
treats
okay.
or like a pat, you know,
So
yeah.
I can still
Reward.
retrain her to do it, like outside. She's still okay.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
she's definitely capable of doing it. That's what I mean. It's annoying because it's something where it's like, I know you can do it, but you're just not doing it kind of thing. So it's frustrating, but it's something that if you can be consistent about it and just like push through these first 2 weeks of doing that and being really on
Right.
it. If she's not going to poop like on the walk, then you're going up every 15 minutes to the roof and like trying to see. Then once she finds that consistency, she's gonna fall into it soon. You know?
Okay.
Perfect. The one taking the charge here. So let them in. Don't pet any of the dogs. But what I'm looking for, the purpose of the socials is for Dilly basically to learn where that line is, right? Just like us, we have those corrections to let her know, you know, go ahead, be excited to say hi to people, don't jump. You jump, you're gonna get that correction, right? We have a line. This is exactly the same thing with the dogs, right? It's something where go ahead and have fun and be super energetic. Don't keep jumping in the face of the one dog that doesn't like you jumping in their face, right? Because then you're gonna get that correction. And this is something where like,
Like that.
yeah, Fiona's just a big scaredy cat. But yes, essentially that's it, right? It is something where she gets scared and she's like, back off, right? So it's up to Dilly to kind of move away, right? Now, Sunday, the Beagle just naturally does play a little bit more rough, but it's something where, you know, again, this is totally like playful, right? There's nothing like wrong with this, but it's something that I can guarantee you if Dilly starts bothering Sunday when Sunday's like, hey, I'm done playing, I don't really want to play anymore, and Dilly keeps pushing that, she's going to give that correction. And again, corrections are fine. I'm okay with Dilly even if another dog's playing too rough with her or something, and Dilly's like, hey, back off, and she does that quick little like nip or something, that's totally fine, right? Where the corrections come into play is when she takes it too far, right? When it's something that's crossing the line of just saying, hey, back off, and it's more of like a, hey, I'm going to teach you a lesson, you know? Like that, right? That I would still consider like a correction, because again, Fiona's not like,
Coming from the dog.
yeah, correction
So
coming
that's
from her.
enough.
Yeah, that's her being like, too close, back off, you know? And again, you can see, yep, that's exactly true. And that's why that's appropriate. Like, I wouldn't give Fiona a correction in that situation because it wasn't her like chasing her, be like, oh, I'm gonna get you now kind of thing. It was just, I'm gonna do this until you back off, and once she did, cool, I'm gonna go and hang over in this corner, you know? Now again, Dilly's obviously a very social dog, so it's something where I don't see her really giving big corrections, but more for the fact of her getting a correction and being able to handle it.
I know, right for the face. It was like, of all places.
Yep. And that's kind of what I was talking about, where it's just like, she's gonna do that, and you know, as long as you're socializing with appropriate dogs and stuff, that dog will appropriately be like, hey, that's enough of that, you know? And that's growing up, you know? In the wild, that's exactly how like young pups would learn from like the adults, like, that's too much, you
Yeah.
know? Check yourself kind of thing, you know? And then that's up to her to be like, you know what, maybe that's not a good idea to do that, right? Because that could have gone a lot worse, you know? Perfect. Nice. And try to get her really stabilized on there first. Perfect. Give her that reward. Perfect. And then go ahead and release her again. Nice. Dilly! Nice. All right. Now let's try that again. Same thing. You just go back up to that bed.
Bed.
And we'll just try to add a little duration there so you can go ahead. Yep. Now, especially if you're like hanging out or you're having guests over or something, they bring another dog over maybe or something like that, right? And you're working these bed stays when they first come in or something, right? I want to keep her held to that standard regardless of what's kind of going on. So even like this, right? That's huge. I would go ahead, go up and reward her real quick, and then go ahead and release her. Perfect. Because, and the reason I wanted to, that's fine, she's good. So the reason I wanted to go up and reward her really quick, because she's kind of scooting around, she's getting everything, she stayed, and I wanted to reward it before it was too late, right? I don't want to like push my luck in that situation, especially this is like the first time we're kind of working this right now. I want it to be something where she's still like on that bed, right? So it's something that I really want to make sure and I don't know if we've gone over kind of like those jackpot rewards or whatever, but it's something where
not yet.
she does something that usually or maybe before training would have been really hard for her to do, and holding that bed when there's 2 dogs on it with her or something, I want to make sure I'm really making sure that she knows that she did a good job there, right? And again, just immediately releasing too, letting her have that option to go run off if she wants to.